Hard to believe, but Dwight Reilly Waite, known as Cappy to his 4 grandchildren, is now 80 years old. That's 8 decades, the big 80. Here's how his long, fascinating flight began. He was born in 1943 in Port Elizabeth, South Africa, where his father worked for Union Carbide. By all accounts, Little Dyke, as he was nicknamed, was a happy, precocious boy. He liked to walk in the park with his mother Alice, spend time at the beach, and play with his dog. World War II was underway, so it wasn't safe for the Waites to return to the United States. German subs were torpedoing merchant ships. But in 1946, the family finally boarded a freighter for Boston. Little Dwight celebrated his 3rd birthday on the boat. The ship's first mate melted down his mother's lipsticks, along with beeswax, to make birthday candles for the cake. Back in the U.S., the Waite family continued to grow. Sister Judy was born, and a few years later, brother Tom came along. The family moved often as their dad climbed the corporate ladder. Dwight graduated from Rocky River High School in Cleveland, where he was on the football and wrestling teams. He attended Purdue, his dad's alma mater, where he joined ROTC. He earned a degree in industrial engineering, but what he really wanted to do was fly.
Well, I started out.
In 1967, he went through pilot training at Laredo Air Force Base in Texas and later at MacDill in Florida, where he learned to fly a variety of aircraft. Dwight quickly bonded with his new band of brothers, including Jean-Claude Demerjen, a sexy Frenchman who would become a lifelong friend. They flew together and, of course, partied together. There were lots of parties. But then came Vietnam. Dwight flew more than 200 missions in Southeast Asia in the backseat of an F-4 Phantom fighter and at the controls of the Super Constellation. Flying deep into enemy territory over North Vietnam, he earned 2 distinguished flying crosses.
Heading into twilight, spreading out her wings tonight. She got you jumping off the deck, shoving into overdrive.
After 5 years in the Air Force, he went to work for Western and Delta Airlines, flying all over the world during a career that spanned more than 30 years, while continuing to fly F-4s in the California Air National Guard at March Air Force Base. But before Dwight checked out in the F-4, he had to pass some important tests on the ground.
$1 he pukes!
I'm not sure what eating eggs, shells, and all had to do with flying, but obviously he passed the test. His fellow pilots were known as the Grizzlies. They were the best and the brightest, and perhaps the craziest. Dwight's call signs were Catfish and Dwight Stuff. Dwight married the beautiful and charming Ann Ford, a flight attendant whose brother Pete had been his roommate. They eventually settled in Pacific Palisades, where daughter Kristen was born, and later son Brian. In 1989, Dwight got a new, shall we say, co-pilot, Andrea Neverson, a television reporter and newscaster. They settled in Del Mar, and a few years later, son Tyler came along.
Andrea is with child.
Yes, my husband Dwight and I are expecting a little boy in late April. Aren't we, honey?
Congratulations.
In our ears, all the years come and go, take us
Dwight's children, Kristen and Brian, are now all grown up and have children of their own. Kristen married Pat Golden. They are the proud parents of Kaylin and Brennan. Brian married Jessie Caldera, and soon two darling daughters came along, Holland and Dakota, who loved their Cappy. As for Tyler, well, he's still looking. Many years ago, the family gathered at March Air Force Base for Dwight's retirement from the Air National Guard and his final flight in the F-4. He put on quite a show.
You are the wind beneath my wings. Fly away.
Back on Earth, there was another show as the squadron toasted him, or should I say doused him, with champagne. He's 80 years old now, but Cappy is still flying high. For all those years, he's been the wind beneath our wings. We wish you a very happy birthday, Cappy. Here's to many more.